Every month, millions of professionals open their bank statements, expecting the familiar rhythm of income to match the effort they've invested. Yet quietly and relentlessly, the reality is shifting. Your paycheck is shrinking. It is not always obvious at first. Raises may arrive, bonuses may appear, yet the purchasing power of what you earn diminishes as expenses rise, inflation creeps in, and the cost of living escalates faster than your compensation. For many, this silent erosion goes unnoticed until it begins to dictate lifestyle constraints, financial stress, and unfulfilled goals. Understanding why your paycheck is shrinking is the first step toward reclaiming control. Salaries alone cannot keep pace with modern economic pressures. Inflation reduces the value of every dollar, meaning that what once covered necessities now barely scratches the surface. Taxes, healthcare, housing, and everyday expenses compound the problem, while a static or marginally increasing wages leave individuals in a constant struggle to maintain stability. Even diligent budgeting cannot fully offset this systemic shrinkage, revealing the uncomfortable truth. Relying on a paycheck alone is no longer sufficient. The impact extends far beyond numbers on a screen. Shrinking paychecks affect decisions, limit options, and subtly shape behavior. Dreams of financial freedom, investments, or entrepreneurial pursuits are delayed. The sense of security tied to regular income begins to feel fragile. Professionals may work longer hours, pursue promotions, or chase raises, yet these actions often provide temporary relief rather than addressing the underlying issue. The cycle becomes self-reinforcing, more work for relatively less gain. Breaking free requires awareness and a strategy. It begins with recognizing that compensation is not simply the result of effort, but also the product of leverage, skills, and systems. Those who focus solely on time for money exchanges remain trapped, while professionals who understand the forces eroding their income can respond intelligently. The challenge is not working harder, it is working smarter, creating avenues to preserve, enhance, and multiply the value of your time and effort. This is a story of awakening to financial reality and taking deliberate action. It is about seeing beyond the illusion of stability, confronting the shrinking paycheck head-on, and designing a system where income is not passively eroded but actively strengthened. Throughout this audiobook, you will discover the mechanisms behind compensation erosion, the strategies to counteract it, and the mindset required to reclaim control over your financial life. You will learn how to convert vulnerability into opportunity, turning awareness into tangible action that produces resilience, growth, and independence. By the end of this journey, the concept of a paycheck will no longer feel restrictive. Instead, you will see it as one part of a broader financial ecosystem where the skills, leverage, multiple streams, and a strategic thinking amplify your income far beyond the limitations of any single job. Understanding the shrinking paycheck is not about fear, it is about clarity, preparation, and empowerment. The sooner you confront it, the faster you can build financial systems that work for you. Though rather than being quietly depleted month after month, your paycheck is shrinking, but your opportunity to regain control is vast. The path forward begins here with insight, a strategy, and action. Chapter 1: Why your income feels smaller. Every year, it is a subtle, almost imperceptible process. Each year, you receive your paycheck, sometimes with a small raise, and yet the impact of that increase seems muted. You feel a strain in your daily life. Groceries cost more, bills creep higher, or rent or mortgage rises, and yet your compensation does not stretch as far as it once did. This is the reality of a shrinking paycheck, a phenomenon experienced by millions where income nominally increases, but purchasing power steadily declines. Understanding why this happens is the first step toward regaining control over your financial life. The primary factor is inflation. Inflation erodes the value of money over time. $1 today will not buy what it did 5 or 10 years ago. And salaries often lag behind the pace of rising costs. Companies may grant annual raises, but these increases are frequently insufficient to keep up with broader economic shifts. As a result, the real value of your income, the amount it can actually purchase, declines, even if your nominal salary appears stable or slightly higher. Professionals who ignore this lose ground gradually, often without noticing until the impact becomes significant. Beyond inflation, but there is the creeping effect of lifestyle inflation. As earnings grow, expenses tend to rise as well. A new car, upgraded housing, or increased discretionary spending often consume any additional income, leaving financial improvement marginal at best. The result is an illusion of progress. Your paycheck seems larger, but the lifestyle it supports has expanded in parallel, negating any meaningful gain in real wealth. Understanding this pattern is critical because it reveals that personal finance is not just about earning more. It is about controlling where and how your income is spent. Another contributing factor is taxation. While taxes are necessary, they also reduce the portion of income available for discretionary use or investment. Over time, marginal tax increases or changes in policy can further reduce effective take-home pay, silently decreasing purchasing power. Professionals who do not account for these factors often feel frustration when incremental raises fail to translate into tangible improvements in their financial situation. Awareness of tax impact allows a strategic planning and a smarter allocation of income, mitigating the effect of a shrinking take-home pay. Job structure and corporate practices play a role as well. Many organizations offer pay scales that reward tenure rather than productivity or market value. Raises tied to years worked, but promotions limited by organizational hierarchies and the stagnant salary bands all contribute to the shrinking relative value of a paycheck. Meanwhile, corporate costs and overhead rise, often passed indirectly to employees through reduced benefits or increased workloads. Professionals who remain unaware of these dynamics risk stagnation, feeling that effort and contribution are underappreciated or inadequately rewarded. Even outside the workplace, personal financial decisions compound the effect. Debt repayment, interest, recurring subscriptions, and unexpected expenses reduce the effective purchasing power of income. Every dollar tied to obligations is one less dollar available for savings, investment, or growth. Over time, these pressures exacerbate the sense that earnings are not keeping up, creating a stress and a feeling of constant scarcity despite regular paychecks. The psychological impact is significant. Professionals begin to feel trapped, working longer hours, taking on side projects, or chasing promotions in an effort to maintain a standard of living. Yet without strategic changes, these efforts only temporarily offset the erosion. The paycheck appears to shrink not because of underperformance, but because the external environment and financial structures systematically reduce the value of income over time. Recognizing this reality is crucial. It transforms frustration into actionable insight. The solution begins with awareness and measurement. Track income, expenses, inflation impact, taxes, and lifestyle changes. Understand how each factor affects your purchasing power and identify areas where adjustments can preserve or enhance real income. Professionals who quantify the erosion of their paycheck can make informed decisions about spending, saving, investing, and income diversification. Without measurement, it is impossible to act strategically. The shrinking paycheck continues silently, unchallenged. Finally, addressing this issue requires proactive strategy. Awareness alone is not enough. Professionals must focus on skill enhancement, leveraging abilities for higher income, creating multiple income streams, investing wisely, and controlling lifestyle inflation. The combination of these measures ensures that income growth outpaces erosion and creates genuine improvements in financial stability and purchasing power. Financial empowerment is a deliberate process, not a passive expectation. In summary, the shrinking paycheck is the product of multiple interconnected factors: inflation, lifestyle expansion, taxation, corporate practices, and personal financial obligations. Each element gradually reduces the real value of your earnings, creating a silent drain on financial stability. By understanding these mechanisms, measuring impact, and implementing deliberate strategies for income growth and protection, professionals can reverse the trend. The paycheck is not doomed. It can be strengthened, but leveraged and transformed into a tool for resilience, independence, and long-term wealth. Chapter 2: The hidden costs that eat your paycheck. Earning a paycheck is only the beginning. For most professionals, the real challenge lies not in how much they earn, but in how much they retain. Hidden costs, both obvious and subtle, continuously chip away at income, leaving individuals with far less than they realize. These expenses operate quietly, often unnoticed, but collectively they can erode financial security, reduce freedom, and make the paycheck feel smaller than it should. Understanding these hidden costs is essential to regaining control and designing a financial system that works. The first major hidden cost is mandatory deductions. Taxes, Social Security contributions, healthcare premiums, and retirement contributions are automatically removed from gross income, yet many professionals underestimate their cumulative impact. A salary that appears generous on paper may lose a substantial portion before it ever reaches a bank account. Understanding these deductions and their effects is critical. Without awareness, it is impossible to fully evaluate the real value of earned income. Financial literacy regarding tax structures and deductions empowers professionals to optimize their take-home pay and make informed decisions about withholding and benefits. Next are living costs that increase silently over time. Rent, utilities, groceries, and transportation rarely remain static. Inflation, market shifts, and lifestyle expectations contribute to a gradual increase in expenses. Often, pay raises do not keep pace with these rising costs, resulting in a shrinking effective income. Professionals who fail to account for these trends may believe they are advancing financially when in reality, their purchasing power is stagnating or declining. Awareness and a strategic planning are required to anticipate and counteract these increases. Debt is another significant hidden cost. Student loans, credit cards, car financing, and personal loans create a recurring drain on resources. Interest compounds the burden, sometimes significantly outpacing the rate of salary growth. Servicing debt can consume a large portion of a paycheck, leaving less available for savings, investment, or discretionary spending. Recognizing debt as a silent drain allows professionals to prioritize repayment strategies, refinance when appropriate, and reduce its long-term impact. Subscriptions and recurring services often fly under the radar but can accumulate into a meaningful financial burden. Streaming services, software licenses, memberships, and even minor conveniences collectively subtract from disposable income. Many professionals overlook these small costs, assuming they are negligible, but over months and years they can represent thousands of dollars. Conducting regular audits of recurring expenses and eliminating non-essential services is a practical step toward maximizing retained income. Lifestyle inflation is a psychological and behavioral factor that further reduces the paycheck's impact. As income rises, spending often rises in parallel. A higher salary can justify a more expensive car, upgraded housing, luxury purchases, or frequent dining out. While some of these choices provide comfort, they also ensure that salary gains are absorbed rather than saved or invested. Breaking the pattern of lifestyle inflation is critical for financial growth, requiring discipline, conscious budgeting, and a long-term mindset focused on wealth accumulation rather than immediate gratification. Transportation and commuting costs are another hidden factor that eats into income. Fuel, maintenance, public transit fees, parking, tolls, and vehicle depreciation collectively reduce the effective value of earnings. For professionals who live far from work or travel frequently, these costs are substantial. Optimizing commuting options, combining trips, or even considering relocation can significantly improve net income and reduce the silent drain on financial resources. Healthcare is an increasingly significant hidden expense. Premiums, co-pays, deductibles, and out-of-pocket medical costs rise continuously. Even with employer coverage, unplanned medical expenses can quickly deplete available income. Professionals who fail to prepare for these contingencies face financial stress that magnifies the sense of a shrinking paycheck. Strategic planning, insurance optimization, and preventative health measures all help mitigate this hidden cost. Unexpected personal expenses compound the problem. Repairs, emergencies, family obligations, or sudden financial demands can strike at any time. But without emergency savings or contingency plans, these events force reliance on credit, borrowing, or dipping into discretionary income, further reducing the effective value of earned wages. Preparing for these realities with reserves and contingency strategies is a critical step toward maintaining financial stability. Finally, opportunity costs silently erode financial potential. Time spent on low-value work, commuting, or routine tasks without leverage represents income and growth that could have been earned elsewhere. Professionals who do not consciously allocate time to high-impact activities or secondary income streams are losing potential income, effectively shrinking the value of their paycheck even further. Awareness of opportunity costs enables deliberate decision-making, ensuring that effort produces maximum return rather than being absorbed by low-leverage obligations. In a summary, while a paycheck is never simply a number, it is influenced by numerous hidden costs that continuously reduce its real value. Mandatory deductions, rising living expenses, debt, subscriptions, lifestyle inflation, commuting, healthcare, unexpected expenses, and opportunity costs all contribute to the erosion of financial resources. Professionals who fail to recognize these factors often feel the impact as a shrinking paycheck, even when nominal income appears stable. By identifying, measuring, and strategically addressing these hidden costs, individuals can retain more of their income, reclaim financial control, and begin building systems that maximize value, resilience, and growth. Chapter 3: Why Raises Don't Keep Up with Life. Most professionals operate under the assumption that raises and promotions will protect them from the pressures of rising costs and shrinking purchasing power. It is a comforting belief, but one that rarely holds true. Raises are often incremental, delayed, or tied to factors that do not align with actual financial needs. The reality is that, more often than not, salary increases fail to keep pace with life, leaving workers trapped in a cycle where their income growth feels insufficient to maintain a stability, let alone achieve financial goals. The primary reason raises fail to keep up is systemic: inflation. The cost of living rises each year, frequently at a rate that outstrips typical salary adjustments. While a 3 to 5% raise may feel significant, it is often neutralized by the increased cost of housing, utilities, food, transportation, and healthcare. In real terms, many workers earn less than the previous year when accounting for inflation. Understanding this reality is crucial because it highlights that effort alone, without a strategic planning, cannot protect against diminishing purchasing power. Another factor is the structure of compensation within organizations. Raises are frequently standardized, tied to tenure rather than productivity or market demand. Promotions are competitive, limited, and delayed, often requiring navigating office politics, organizational priorities, and arbitrary performance metrics. Professionals may be performing at peak levels, yet find that their financial recognition does not reflect their contributions. This structural limitation ensures that income growth is slow, creating a widening gap between effort and reward. Lifestyle expectations exacerbate the problem. As professionals receive raises, they are prone to lifestyle inflation, upgrading homes, cars, and discretionary spending. While lifestyle improvements are desirable, they often consume the majority of incremental income, leaving little for savings, investments, or future financial security. Without conscious financial discipline, raises merely sustain existing habits rather than build wealth, contributing to the sense that income growth is insufficient to meet rising demands. Economic cycles and market forces also play a role. Companies face pressures such as cost-cutting, fluctuating demand, and global competition, which constrain their ability to provide meaningful raises. Even when organizations experience growth and profitability, the portion allocated to employee compensation may be modest, especially relative to rising expenses for workers. Professionals often experience a disconnect between organizational success and personal income growth, which undermines the perceived value of raises and reinforces financial stagnation. Another subtle factor is taxation. Higher salaries often push individuals into higher tax brackets, reducing the net benefit of raises. While gross income may increase, take-home pay grows more slowly, and in some cases the proportional increase is negligible. This tax impact further diminishes the protective effect of raises, highlighting the importance of strategic planning, financial literacy, and proactive measures to maximize net income. Additionally, raises do not address hidden costs. Everyday expenses, debt, healthcare, subscriptions, and unexpected financial obligations continue to consume a growing portion of income. Even a significant raise can be absorbed entirely by these recurring costs, leaving little to improve financial stability. Professionals must recognize that without intentional management, income growth alone cannot overcome systemic and personal financial pressures. The psychological impact of slow raises is significant. Workers often experience frustration, stress, and a sense of stagnation, believing that effort and dedication should yield tangible improvement. This perception can lead to overwork, overtime, or pursuit of multiple jobs, creating fatigue and reducing quality of life. The emotional drain compounds the financial challenge, creating a cycle where increased effort produces minimal additional value. Breaking free from this dynamic requires a strategic action. Professionals must supplement linear income with alternative streams, invest in skills that command higher market value, and build systems that leverage effort into scalable returns. A raise alone cannot secure financial progress. It must be combined with financial literacy, proactive planning, and a strategic allocation of resources to ensure real income growth. Finally, adopting a long-term perspective is crucial. Raises are often temporary solutions to systemic pressures. Professionals who rely solely on incremental salary increases risk stagnation, while those who design a comprehensive strategy, combining skills, leverage, multiple income streams, and financial discipline, create sustainable growth. Understanding why raises fail to keep up is the first step toward taking control, ensuring that income evolves in line with life rather than being eroded silently. In summary, raises do not keep up with life due to inflation, organizational structures, lifestyle inflation, economic pressures, taxation, hidden costs, and psychological factors. Professionals who fail to recognize these dynamics often experience a stagnation despite hard work. Strategic awareness, skill development, diversified income, financial literacy, and intentional planning are essential to bridge the gap between effort and real financial growth. Raises are merely one component in a broader system. Without deliberate action, they cannot protect against the shrinking value of income over time. Chapter 4: The true cost of staying in your comfort zone. Staying in a stable job, working predictable hours, and following familiar routines feels safe. Comfort zones provide a sense of security, reducing immediate stress and maintaining a stable lifestyle. Yet this very comfort often carries a hidden cost, a slow erosion of opportunity, growth, and long-term financial independence. The longer professionals remain confined within predictable structures, the more their income, skills, and leverage stagnate, leaving them exposed to the silent threat of shrinking paychecks and limited potential. The first cost is skill stagnation. In a comfort zone, professionals rarely push themselves to acquire new abilities or tackle high-stakes challenges. Skills remain narrowly aligned with current responsibilities, limiting adaptability and market value. The workplace continues to evolve, technology changes, market expectations shift, and new methodologies emerge. Individuals who avoid discomfort fail to remain competitive, and when opportunities arise, their limited skill set prevents them from capitalizing on higher-paying roles, promotions, or alternative income streams. The comfort of familiarity ultimately restricts financial growth. Second, staying in familiar roles reduces exposure to leverage. Leverage is the ability to amplify effort through systems, networks, and opportunities. When professionals stick to well-known tasks, they often trade time for money linearly, without creating systems or side ventures that multiply results. While consistent work may feel productive, it rarely scales beyond immediate output. Comfort zones inhibit experimentation, risk-taking, and strategic thinking, all of which are essential for building multiple income streams or increasing long-term financial independence. Financial opportunity costs are another hidden consequence. Professionals who avoid taking calculated risks, pursuing projects, side ventures, investments, or entrepreneurial initiatives miss out on avenues that could dramatically enhance income. Every hour spent within the comfort zone is an hour not invested in high-leverage activities. Over years, the cumulative lost opportunity is substantial, leaving individuals dependent on a single income stream, vulnerable to economic fluctuations, inflation, and organizational limitations. Psychologically, comfort zones breed complacency. Familiarity reduces urgency, creating a false sense of security. Professionals may believe they are progressing because they maintain a stability, but stability without growth is stagnation. This mindset makes it more difficult to embrace change, seize opportunities, or respond effectively to unexpected challenges. Complacency is especially costly in fast-paced industries, where adaptation and initiative determine both compensation and career trajectory. Another hidden cost is reduced negotiation power. Professionals who remain within the same environment without expanding skills, networks, or achievements have less leverage when seeking raises, promotions, or new opportunities. Employers naturally favor those who demonstrate growth, initiative, and unique value. Comfort zone employees risk being overlooked, receiving incremental raises that fail to keep pace with inflation and increasing responsibilities. In essence, staying comfortable can directly contribute to the shrinking paycheck phenomenon. Networking and exposure are also limited within comfort zones. Regularly interacting with peers, mentors, and industry professionals outside your immediate environment provides insights, opportunities, and strategic connections that accelerate growth. By confining oneself to familiar circles, professionals miss chances to collaborate, learn, or leverage others' expertise. The absence of diverse perspectives and relationships reduces career mobility and income potential over time. Comfort zones also impact long-term financial habits. Professionals who rely solely on their current paycheck often defer investing, building multiple income streams, or creating systems to multiply earnings. The security of the familiar discourages proactive planning, leading to over-reliance on a single income source. Over time, this results in vulnerability. When unexpected disruptions occur, job loss, economic downturns, or personal emergencies, the financial safety net is weak and the consequences are magnified. Finally, the true cost includes personal growth and life satisfaction. Staying in predictable routines limits exposure to challenges, achievements, and experiences that build confidence, competence, and independence. Financial stagnation is intertwined with personal stagnation. The skills, mindset, and resilience required for financial freedom develop through calculated risk-taking, experimentation, and embracing discomfort. Those who remain comfortably passive may maintain short-term stability, but they sacrifice long-term growth and autonomy. Breaking free from comfort zones requires deliberate action. Identify areas where growth is possible, invest in skill development, seek opportunities for high-leverage work, and pursue calculated risks aligned with long-term goals. Diversify income, explore side ventures, and create systems that extend impact beyond immediate effort. Each small step outside the comfort zone compounds over time, increasing both financial security and professional influence. In a summary, staying in your comfort zone has hidden costs that extend far beyond immediate convenience. Skill stagnation, limited leverage, opportunity costs, complacency, reduced negotiation power, restricted networking, poor financial planning, and constrained personal growth all contribute to diminished income potential and vulnerability to financial stress. We're professionals who recognize these risks and act deliberately to expand their capabilities, networks, and income channels transform the comfort zone from a trap into a launching point for sustainable growth, resilience, and long-term financial independence. Chapter 5: How Time Mismanagement Shrinks. Your paycheck time is one of the most valuable resources a professional has, yet it is often the most mismanaged. That mismanagement of time not only reduces productivity, but also directly impacts financial growth, career advancement, and long-term wealth creation. When time is treated as infinite or undervalued, the result is a paycheck that feels insufficient, stagnant, or shrinking in value. Understanding the relationship between time, effort, and income is crucial for transforming work into scalable, strategic results. The first factor is the linear relationship between time and money. In most traditional roles, compensation is tied to hours worked rather than value created. A standard 9-to-5 schedule means that your income is constrained by your availability and the employer's wage structure. Working longer hours may produce marginal gains, but it rarely increases earning potential proportionally. Professionals who fail to recognize this are trapped in a system where time consumption defines compensation, leaving little room for scaling or financial freedom. Inefficient task prioritization is another major contributor. Many professionals spend hours on low-value activities that do not generate significant results. Meetings without clear objectives, repetitive administrative tasks, and constant interruptions consume time without corresponding financial benefit. When these inefficiencies dominate the workday, high-impact projects and income-generating opportunities are neglected. The misaligned priorities directly reduce the effective value of a paycheck, because time is the currency through which income is earned. Procrastination compounds the problem. Delaying critical work or avoiding challenging tasks leads to rushed, lower quality output, missed deadlines, or lost opportunities. In a compensation system tied to performance or results, procrastination reduces earning potential and career momentum. Over time, but the cumulative effect of delayed action significantly diminishes the ability to maximize income and leverage time strategically. Lack of delegation is another factor. Professionals often attempt to do everything themselves, believing that personal effort guarantees quality or control. While this may work temporarily, it limits scalability. Every hour spent on tasks that could be delegated is an hour lost for higher leverage work. Effective delegation frees time for activities that generate more value, higher compensation, and long-term income growth. Professionals who fail to delegate remain confined to the linear time-for-money trap. Overcommitment and multitasking further reduce productivity. Taking on too many responsibilities simultaneously can create the illusion of busyness, but it rarely produces meaningful results. Multitasking divides attention, reduces efficiency, and increases errors, requiring additional time to correct. Professionals who overcommit are effectively shrinking their paycheck by diluting the impact of their efforts and failing to focus on high-value tasks that could drive income growth. Time mismanagement also affects long-term strategic actions. Planning, skill development, side ventures, and investment management require deliberate allocation of time. When immediate tasks dominate, professionals neglect activities that multiply income, expand skills, or create leverage. Over time, this leads to financial stagnation. The paycheck may appear adequate in the short term, but opportunities for meaningful growth are lost, effectively shrinking real earning potential. Technology and distractions play a subtle yet significant role. Constant notifications, social media, and digital interruptions fragment attention, reduce focus, and consume time without producing tangible results. While minor interruptions seem harmless, their cumulative effect over weeks and months can be substantial. Professionals who fail to control their environment and protect focus are inadvertently eroding the value of their work and the paycheck tied to it. Time mismanagement also intersects with personal energy and health. Overworking without breaks, neglecting rest, and misaligning tasks with peak productivity periods reduce efficiency and effectiveness. When hours spent physically present but mentally fatigued contribute little to income generation. Professionals who ignore the relationship between energy, focus, and time efficiency are effectively shrinking their paycheck through diminished output. Finally, awareness and intentionality are key solutions. Tracking time, identifying high-value activities, minimizing distractions, and focusing on leverage points allow professionals to maximize the impact of each hour. Implementing systems, prioritizing tasks based on ROI, and eliminating low-impact work transforms time into a multiplier rather than a limiting factor. When managed strategically, time becomes an asset that increases both income and freedom, reversing the effects of a shrinking paycheck. In summary, time mismanagement directly reduces the effective value of a paycheck. Linear compensation, inefficient prioritization, procrastination, lack of delegation, overcommitment, distractions, and neglected strategic activities all erode income potential. Professionals who fail to control their time remain trapped in a cycle where effort does not translate into proportional reward. By understanding the connection between time, effort, and value, and implementing strategies to manage, leverage, and optimize hours, individuals can preserve and amplify their paycheck, create financial resilience, and achieve long-term growth. Chapter 6: Why your work hours don't equal financial growth. Many professionals equate longer work hours with higher income, assuming that the more time they invest, the greater the financial reward. Yet this assumption is flawed. The relationship between hours worked and financial growth is not linear. While effort is necessary, the real drivers of income, leverage, skill, strategy, and market value often operate independently of time. Understanding why work hours alone do not guarantee financial progress is crucial for designing a system that produces real wealth. The first reason is diminishing returns. Beyond a certain point, additional hours do not produce proportionally higher results. Fatigue, reduced focus, and declining efficiency make extra hours less productive. Working 60 or 70 hours per week may create the appearance of diligence, but the output per hour often falls below that achieved during focused, strategic periods. Professionals who measure success purely by time invested risk over exertion with minimal financial return. Linear compensation structures reinforce this misconception. Most traditional employment models tie pay to tenure, role, or hours, not to value creation. Even if employees work longer, raises and bonuses are often predetermined, capped, or delayed, offering only marginal improvement in actual income. Consequently, hours invested beyond the standard expectations rarely translate into proportional financial growth. Recognizing that a structural limitation is critical to breaking the cycle of time for money dependency. Another factor is the opportunity cost of time. Hours spent working in low-leverage tasks are hours not invested in activities that could produce a scalable income. Consulting, entrepreneurial ventures, investing, skill development, or system creation often yield returns far exceeding the linear payoff of extended work hours. Professionals who focus exclusively on time-intensive tasks without considering high-impact alternatives are inadvertently shrinking their financial potential. The quality of work also matters more than quantity. High-value projects, strategic initiatives, and innovative problem-solving generate disproportionate financial outcomes compared to routine or administrative tasks. But professionals who spend hours on low-impact work may feel busy, yet their contribution to income growth is minimal. Prioritizing tasks based on financial and strategic impact allows professionals to maximize return on effort, creating financial growth without necessarily increasing hours. Work hours alone cannot address systemic economic pressures. Inflation, taxation, and rising living costs erode the real value of income, regardless of effort. Even with overtime or extended schedules, the effective purchasing power of pay may decline over time. Professionals who rely solely on hours worked ignore these macroeconomic forces, leaving them exposed to shrinking paychecks despite visible effort. Skill leverage is a crucial factor often overlooked. Individuals who invest in high-demand skills, certifications, or marketable expertise can command higher compensation for less time spent. In contrast, Those who remain in familiar roles without upgrading capabilities remain confined to linear wage structures. Hours worked are insufficient to overcome the income ceiling imposed by limited skills or market value. Financial growth emerges not from effort alone, but from a strategic enhancement of value. Networking and strategic positioning amplify the impact of effort. Professionals who cultivate relationships, seek mentorship, and engage with high-value opportunities gain access to projects or clients or partnerships that extend income beyond linear work hours. In contrast, isolated effort, no matter how consistent, rarely produces scalable financial outcomes. Leveraging social and professional networks transforms time invested into multiplied results independent of mere hours logged. Burnout is another hidden consequence. Extended work hours without strategic focus diminish creativity, efficiency, and decision-making capacity. The result is reduced effectiveness, errors, and lost opportunities. Time invested becomes less productive, creating the illusion of hard work while financial growth stagnates. Professionals who ignore the connection between well-being and output inadvertently shrink their income relative to effort. Finally, automation and systems challenge the traditional time for money paradigm. Professionals who implement tools, processes, and scalable solutions reduce dependency on personal labor while increasing output. For example, digital products, automated services, or scalable consulting models generate revenue independent of hours worked. Individuals who rely solely on personal effort fail to harness leverage, leaving financial growth capped by time constraints. In summary, work hours alone do not equal financial growth due to diminishing returns. Linear compensation structures, opportunity costs, task prioritization, economic pressures, skill limitations, network leverage, burnout, and absence of scalable systems. Professionals who fail to recognize this relationship risk overworking without meaningful financial progress. By focusing on high-value tasks, skill enhancement, leverage, system creation, and strategic networking, individuals can convert effort into multiplied results. Work becomes a tool for scalable financial growth rather than a finite resource limited to hours logged. Understanding this principle is essential for escaping the constraints of linear income and designing a pathway toward financial independence. Chapter 7: Building Leverage. While you climb, advancement in your career or business is not merely about putting in more hours, it is about building leverage. Leverage is the ability to multiply the impact of your efforts, turning a single action into results that exceed the linear relationship between time and outcome. Professionals who understand and apply leverage while climbing the career ladder or expanding their ventures gain a strategic advantage, accelerating income, influence, and long-term financial freedom. The first type of leverage is skill leverage. Developing high-value transferable skills increases your ability to command compensation beyond what time alone can provide. Skills that solve critical problems, improve efficiency, or create tangible results give you negotiating power, but marketability, and opportunities to earn across multiple channels. Professionals who invest in continuous learning and mastery position themselves to extract greater value from every project or role, turning effort into multiplied financial and professional returns. Another form of leverage is network leverage. Relationships with mentors, peers, industry experts, and decision makers amplify access to opportunities, insights, and resources. A strong professional network allows collaboration, but partnerships and introductions that can accelerate income growth beyond what is achievable in isolation. Networking strategically rather than casually ensures that every interaction has the potential to create value and expand reach, providing leverage that compounds over time. Process and system leverage are also critical. Repetitive tasks, projects, or workflows can be systematized or automated, freeing time for higher value work. For example, creating templates, automating reporting, or implementing a scalable operational procedures allows output to grow without increasing personal labor. System leverage ensures that progress does not remain strictly tied to hours invested, enabling professionals to climb roles or responsibilities while maintaining capacity for additional growth avenues. Financial leverage is a powerful yet underutilized tool. Using capital strategically, whether for investments, business expansion, or skill acquisition, allows professionals to generate income that is not strictly tied to labor. Smart allocation of resources amplifies the effect of personal effort, turning relatively modest investments of money and time into larger returns. Leveraging financial resources strategically also provides resilience against income volatility and enhances long-term wealth creation. Time leverage is equally important. Prioritizing high-impact tasks, delegating low-value work, and focusing on activities with outsized returns ensures that each hour produces maximum benefit. Professionals who understand the principle of time leverage avoid the trap of busy work, aligning their schedule with objectives that contribute most to growth, influence, and compensation. Every hour becomes a strategic investment rather than a passive expense. The leverage mindset is essential. Professionals must view effort as a tool to be amplified rather than a measure of worth. Climbing the ladder or expanding influence is not about enduring longer hours or shouldering additional tasks. It is about making every action count exponentially. This perspective shifts focus from simple labor to strategic impact, ensuring that advancement translates into real income and long-term value. Strategic visibility is another form of leverage. Demonstrating expertise, producing measurable results, and communicating achievements within and outside your organization increases perceived value and influence. Visibility ensures that contributions are recognized, creating pathways for promotions, higher compensation, or external opportunities. Without a strategic visibility, even high-value work may remain unnoticed, reducing leverage and potential returns. Combining leverage types magnifies results. Skill development, networking, systems, capital allocation, time prioritization, and visibility intersect to create compounding effects. Each form of leverage enhances the others, creating exponential growth rather than linear progression. Professionals who actively build multiple forms of leverage move beyond the constraints of a single paycheck or role, positioning themselves for sustained income growth and independence. Risk management is also integral. Leveraging effort, relationships, or capital carries inherent risk. Professionals must assess potential outcomes, diversify approaches, and implement safeguards to prevent losses from undermining growth. Thoughtful risk management ensures that leverage acts as a growth multiplier rather than a vulnerability. Finally, leverage compounds over time. Early investment in skills, networks, systems, and capital produces returns that accumulate and multiply. Consistent application of leverage accelerates career progression, income growth, and financial freedom. Professionals who recognize this principle understand that building leverage is not a one-time effort, but a continuous process requiring a strategic attention, deliberate action, and patience. In summary, building leverage while climbing involves maximizing the impact of the skills, networks, systems, capital, time, visibility, and a strategic risk management. Each element multiplies the effectiveness of effort, enabling professionals to achieve income growth, influence, and long-term financial independence beyond the constraints of linear work. By applying leverage thoughtfully, individuals transform effort into exponential results, positioning themselves for success that grows faster than hours worked or positions held. Climbing is no longer just about progression. It becomes its strategic platform for compounding financial and professional outcomes. Chapter 8: Multiple Streams. Why one income is never enough. Relying on a single income source is one of the most common and dangerous traps professionals fall into. A steady paycheck creates an illusion of security, yet in reality, it exposes individuals to significant financial risk. Economic fluctuations, company decisions, layoffs, inflation, or unexpected expenses can all undermine a single income, leaving professionals vulnerable. Understanding the necessity of multiple streams of income is essential to financial resilience, wealth building, and long-term independence. The first reason one income is insufficient is exposure to external risk. Dependence on a single employer or client ties financial stability to factors outside personal control. Market downturns, organizational restructuring, technological disruptions, or sudden business decisions can eliminate or reduce income abruptly, but even a strong performance and dedication cannot guarantee continuity. By diversifying income streams, professionals reduce reliance on a single source, mitigating risk and creating a safety net that preserves financial stability. Financial growth also requires a scalability, which one income rarely provides. Traditional employment often limits earnings to predetermined structures such as salaries, hourly wages, or incremental raises. Time invested is the primary currency exchanged for compensation. While consistent, this linear model cannot match the potential of multiple complementary income streams that leverage effort, skills, and capital. Diversification allows professionals to move beyond the ceiling imposed by any single source, expanding opportunities for wealth accumulation. Multiple income streams also provide a strategic flexibility. Professionals who maintain side ventures, freelance work, investments, or passive income have the ability to shift focus or prioritize high-value opportunities when circumstances change. This adaptability is a form of financial leverage. Control over multiple sources of revenue reduces vulnerability and enables strategic decisions without the pressure of immediate survival. The single income mindset eliminates this flexibility, leaving individuals reactive rather than proactive. Investments, whether in the stocks, real estate, digital products, or businesses, are classic examples of secondary income streams. These sources generate revenue independently of daily labor, allowing money to work for the professional rather than relying solely on active effort. Building investment knowledge and allocating resources strategically multiplies wealth potential, preserves purchasing power, and provides long-term security. Those who ignore this principle remain constrained by the limits of a single paycheck. But skill-based income diversification is another powerful method. Consulting, freelance projects, teaching, or creating intellectual property allows professionals to monetize expertise outside traditional employment. Unlike passive investments, skill-based streams combine knowledge and effort for higher returns while building reputation and authority in a given field. Professionals who invest in developing marketable skills can command premium rates, creating additional financial resilience and accelerating long-term wealth accumulation. Digital platforms and technology have expanded opportunities for alternative income. Online courses, content creation, affiliate marketing, e-commerce, or subscription models allow professionals to reach global audiences, monetize expertise, and build scalable revenue streams. The advantage lies in leverage. Once a system or product is created, it continues generating income with minimal ongoing labor. What professionals relying solely on a single traditional income miss these opportunities entirely, limiting growth potential. Psychological benefits also reinforce the importance of multiple streams. Diversification reduces stress, mitigates the fear of job loss, and increases confidence in financial decision-making. Knowing that income is not dependent on a single source empowers professionals to negotiate better terms, invest in opportunities, and can take calculated risks that further multiply wealth. Financial independence begins with reducing reliance on any one paycheck and consciously expanding sources of income. The strategy for building multiple streams involves planning, experimentation, and consistent execution. Professionals must identify complementary avenues aligned with skills, interests, and available resources. Diversification is not random, it is deliberate. Each new stream should serve a purpose: risk reduction, scalability, skill development, or passive revenue generation. Properly integrated, multiple streams create a self-reinforcing ecosystem where each source amplifies the others. Finally, the importance of time and leverage cannot be overstated. Not all income streams are equal in effort to reward ratio. Professionals must focus on high-impact avenues that scale, rather than dispersing effort across low-value activities. By combining time leverage, skill application, and capital deployment strategically, multiple income streams evolve from optional side projects to fundamental pillars of financial security and growth. In summary, one income is never enough because it exposes professionals to external risk, limits scalability, reduces strategic flexibility, and fails to create financial resilience. Multiple streams provide diversification, leverage, and opportunities to convert skills and capital into sustained wealth. Whether through investments, or skill monetization, or scalable digital ventures, building additional income channels is essential for overcoming the shrinking paycheck problem and creating long-term independence. Professionals who embrace this strategy gain control, security, and the ability to grow far beyond the limitations of a single paycheck. Chapter 9: Inflation and Cost of Living. the silent shrink factor. Income alone does not determine financial stability. Even when salaries rise, the purchasing power of that income can erode over time due to inflation and the rising cost of living. This silent shrink factor is one of the most overlooked causes of financial stress, leaving professionals with a paycheck that feels smaller each year despite consistent effort. Understanding how inflation works and how it interacts with lifestyle choices is critical for preserving income and achieving long-term financial security. Inflation is the gradual increase in prices for goods and services over time. Even modest inflation rates reduce the real value of money. $1 today will buy less tomorrow. This affects everything from groceries to housing, transportation, healthcare, and discretionary spending. Professionals who rely solely on nominal salary figures without considering real purchasing power are effectively earning less each year, even if paychecks appear higher. Awareness of this phenomenon is the first step in combating its effects. The cost of living compounds the challenge. While inflation affects general prices, personal living expenses often increase faster than average rates due to lifestyle choices, family obligations, and local economic trends. Housing, transportation, education, and healthcare are areas where cost escalation frequently outpaces income growth. Professionals who fail to anticipate and plan for these increases face an invisible erosion of earnings, which contributes to the feeling that their paycheck is shrinking despite apparent raises. Even incremental lifestyle upgrades magnify this effect. Upgrading homes, vehicles, or daily habits in response to raises leads to lifestyle inflation, which consumes any real gain in purchasing power. While a new car or improved amenities may feel like progress, or they often neutralize the effect of salary increases. This creates a cycle where income rises nominally, but actual wealth accumulation remains stagnant or declines relative to needs. Professionals must consciously manage lifestyle expansion to preserve income value. Taxation interacts with inflation to further reduce real income. As salaries increase, higher tax brackets and deductions may absorb a portion of incremental earnings, leaving less disposable income than expected. Even if nominal pay grows, the combined effects of taxation and rising costs can result in a net decrease in effective financial flexibility. Understanding these interactions is essential for informed financial planning and a strategic allocation of resources. Unexpected economic pressures amplify the impact. Inflation spikes, market disruptions, and local cost surges can occur unpredictably. Professionals who rely on single income sources and maintain minimal savings are particularly vulnerable. Without proactive planning, external economic forces silently erode financial stability, leaving individuals dependent on paycheck adjustments that often lag behind actual cost increases. Debt and recurring obligations worsen the situation. Mortgages, loans, and other fixed payments consume a portion of income, and as the cost of living rises, the relative weight of these obligations increases. Interest rates, compounding costs, and inflation-adjusted expenses further squeeze take-home pay. Professionals who fail to manage debt strategically experience shrinking financial capacity, even if nominal income remains unchanged. Inflation also affects long-term savings and investments. Money kept in non-interest-bearing accounts or poorly performing assets loses value over time. Professionals who do not account for inflation when planning retirement, emergency funds, or long-term investments risk seeing wealth eroded gradually, diminishing the real benefit of accumulated earnings. Investment strategies must incorporate inflation protection to ensure that money maintains or grows its purchasing power. The psychological effect of the silent shrink factor is significant. Individuals perceive their paycheck as insufficient despite hard work, leading to stress, overwork, and attempts to compensate through overtime or side hustles. These reactions provide temporary relief but do not address the underlying erosion of value. Understanding the structural causes of shrinking income enables professionals to adopt proactive strategies, transforming frustration into informed action. Strategies to counteract this factor include diversifying income, managing lifestyle inflation, monitoring cost of living trends, strategic debt management, and investing in inflation-resistant assets. Professionals who actively track purchasing power, prioritize high-value expenditures, and develop multiple income streams preserve financial stability and enhance growth potential. Awareness and deliberate action transform passive vulnerability into strategic resilience. In summary, inflation and rising living costs silently shrink the real value of income, regardless of nominal salary increases. Lifestyle inflation, taxation, fixed obligations, and underperforming savings compound this effect, leaving professionals feeling trapped despite consistent effort. Recognizing the silent shrink factor and implementing strategies to mitigate it through income diversification, financial planning, and smart investment preserves purchasing power, ensures a long-term stability, and empowers professionals to achieve financial independence even in the face of economic pressures. Chapter 10: Future-proofing your income. The last step to financial freedom. Financial freedom is not achieved through a single strategy paycheck or promotion. It is the result of deliberate planning, skill development, and the creation of systems that protect and grow income over time. Future-proofing income is the final step in breaking free from the limitations of linear earnings and shrinking paychecks. This involves anticipating economic trends, diversifying revenue streams, leveraging skills and networks, and building resilience against uncertainty. The first principle of future-proofing is diversification. Relying on a single source of income is inherently risky, as external factors such as layoffs, market fluctuations, and industry disruption can eliminate or reduce earnings without warning. Professionals must develop multiple streams of income, including active, passive, and investment-based sources. By spreading risk across diverse channels, individuals create stability, reduce dependency on a single paycheck, and gain the freedom to pursue high-value opportunities without fear of financial collapse. Skill enhancement is equally critical. Industries evolve rapidly, and the demand for certain skills can change dramatically over time. Professionals who continually upgrade their abilities remain competitive and marketable. Future-proofing requires identifying high-demand skills, pursuing certifications or advanced training, and building expertise in areas that offer both current and emerging opportunities. Skills act as leverage, enabling higher compensation, career mobility, and access to entrepreneurial opportunities that can supplement or replace traditional income streams. Building networks is another essential strategy. Connections with mentors, industry peers, and decision makers provide access to knowledge, opportunities, and collaborations that accelerate financial growth. When strategic relationships amplify leverage and offer pathways that are not available to isolated professionals. A robust network acts as a safety net, providing support and opportunities that protect income potential in the face of change or disruption. Automation and systems play a key role in future-proofing income. Time-limited or labor-intensive tasks can be optimized through technology, tools, and standardized processes. By creating scalable systems, its professionals ensure that their work continues to generate value even when personal involvement is limited. Automation not only increases efficiency, but also protects income from disruptions, allowing effort to be multiplied rather than confined to linear hours. Investments are an indispensable part of a resilient income strategy. Allocating resources to assets that generate returns, such as stocks, real estate, digital products, or businesses, creates passive income streams that are insulated from personal labor. Investment planning should account for risk, diversification, and inflation protection, ensuring that capital grows over time and preserves purchasing power. A strategically designed portfolio transforms savings into a consistent, compounding source of wealth that complements active earnings. Financial literacy underpins all future-proofing efforts. Understanding taxation, debt management, budgeting, and investment principles allows professionals to make informed decisions that maximize retained income. Without literacy, even multiple income streams or advanced skills may be insufficient to achieve long-term security. Knowledge empowers action, ensuring that financial strategies are deliberate, effective, and resilient. Adaptability is another critical element. Economic conditions, technological disruption, and market demands evolve constantly. Professionals who resist change risk stagnation, while those who embrace adaptability remain competitive and capable of seizing emerging opportunities. Future-proofing requires a mindset that anticipates change, continuously evaluates circumstances, and responds proactively. Adaptable individuals convert uncertainty into advantage, protecting income and expanding potential. Emergency planning is also essential. Unforeseen events, illness, economic crises, or personal emergencies can severely impact income if no contingency measures exist. Building reserves, maintaining insurance, and diversifying revenue streams provide a buffer against shocks. Professionals who prepare for the unexpected preserve both financial stability and peace of mind, ensuring that temporary setbacks do not permanently erode wealth or opportunity. Finally, strategic focus ensures that efforts are directed toward high-leverage activities. Professionals must identify tasks, projects, and investments that provide outsized returns relative to time and effort. Focused action, combined with skill leverage, networking, and income diversification, compounds results over time. By prioritizing strategically, individuals avoid wasted effort, accelerate growth, and build sustainable financial independence. In a summary, future-proofing income is the culmination of all principles designed to combat the shrinking paycheck and build long-term financial resilience. diversification, skill enhancement, networking, systems, automation, investments, financial literacy, adaptability, emergency planning, and a strategic focus collectively protect and amplify income potential. Professionals who integrate these principles create a robust financial ecosystem, enabling freedom from reliance on a single paycheck, resilience against economic fluctuations, and the ability to achieve wealth that grows over time. The path to financial freedom is deliberate, strategic, and continuous. By future-proofing income today, professionals ensure that their effort generates lasting value, purchasing power is preserved, and opportunities for growth remain available regardless of external circumstances. The paycheck becomes a tool, not a limitation, and financial independence transforms from a distant goal into a sustainable reality.